You already know exactly what a chimpanzee looks like, right? You've seen them in documentaries, you've seen them in zoos, maybe scrolling past viral videos online. We all tend to look at their expressive faces and those playful personalities, and we feel a connection. But as we dive into this explainer today, you're going to realize that the image you carry in your head, well, it's perhaps the most dangerously misleading impression in all of nature. We're going to look at the data, the biology, and the history to uncover a truth we were honestly never meant to ignore. It's a number you've probably heard 1,000 times. We share 98.7% of our DNA with chimpanzees. And it's exactly this biological familiarity that's led humanity into a trap. We falsely romanticize them. Because they look a bit like us and they act somewhat like us, we've dressed them up in clothes, put them in commercials, and just completely convinced ourselves that they're these curious, gentle, almost childlike cousins of humanity. But that 98.7% shared DNA, that is the very thing that makes them so intensely dangerous. Because, let's be clear, they are not failed humans. They are organized, strategic, politically sophisticated hunters. They are perfectly evolved predators built by millions of years of brutal, entirely unforgiving competition in the resource-contested forests of Central and West Africa. Out there, evolution didn't build them to be peaceful companions. It built them to survive at absolutely all costs. Section 1. Anatomy of a predator. Okay, to really grasp why this illusion we have is so fatal, we first have to look with total clinical detachment at their undeniable physical superiority. A 2017 study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences actually found that chimpanzees outperform a human male's pulling force by a factor of 2 to 5. And this advantage doesn't just come from having larger muscles. It comes from a fundamental difference in their muscle fiber composition. They possess a dramatically higher proportion of fast-twitch muscle fibers. So they are quite literally engineered at a cellular level for explosive maximal violence. Every single movement they make engages an anatomy built to overpower. Think about this. A male chimpanzee might only stand about 1.2 meters tall, right? Weighing maybe up to 60 kilograms. But their hands are weapons. Their extraordinary grip strength can suspend their entire body weight effortlessly, and it's capable of bending and tearing human anatomy with a force that we simply cannot produce. And those sharp canines, they aren't used defensively like a cornered dog might. They're used with deliberate strategic intent. Which brings us to a deeply, deeply disturbing medical reality. Across documented attacks, chimpanzees do not strike randomly, and they don't strike in a frenzy. They systematically target the face, the hands and fingers, the genitals, and the feet. They go for those exact same anatomical targets in that exact same order. Why? To completely eliminate a victim's ability to see, to grasp, and to flee. The precision of it is just frightening. Section 2. The invention of war. Now, the horror of the chimpanzee shifts from their pure physical strength to something far more deeply unsettling, their human-like intelligence and their capacity for organized violence. They don't just act on primal instinct, they make and use tools, literally crafting spears with their teeth to hunt smaller primates. But it goes way deeper into social complexity. They build political alliances and betrayals that look shockingly similar to human politics. And most chillingly of all, they hold grudges. They will wait hours or even years to execute a premeditated revenge against a specific rival. And this kind of strategic intelligence inevitably leads to things like the Gombe Chimpanzee War. Documented by Jane Goodall back in the 1970s, scientists watched in real time as a single community split into 2 factions. The males began conducting these silent, reconnaissance border patrols. They calculated the odds, and when the numbers favored them, they launched coordinated, lethal ambush raids. Over the span of several years, the northern group systematically hunted down and eradicated every single member of the southern group. They waged war, and they definitely didn't learn it from us. Section 3. The Travis Incident. We have to turn now to a tragedy that serves as the ultimate heartbreaking proof that you cannot domesticate millions of years of evolutionary violence. For 14 years, a 90-kilogram chimpanzee named Travis lived entirely as a domestic companion in Stamford, Connecticut. By absolutely every measure of human projection, he was one of us. He slept in a bed, he ate at the table, drank wine from a glass, and even used a computer. His owner viewed him literally as a son. The illusion of his domestication was absolute. But in the span of just 12 horrifying minutes, that 14-year illusion collapsed entirely. On February 16th, Travis attacked his owner's friend, Charla Nash. The sheer ferocity of those 12 minutes left highly trained emergency responders completely unable to adequately describe what they found when they finally arrived on the scene. The most chilling aspect of the Travis incident, though, is that he was not acting out of panic, and he wasn't confused. He was operating with complete neurological competence. Trauma surgeons who later treated Charla Nash noted that the methodical, systematic destruction of her face and hands did not resemble standard animal bites. They said they looked like the work of something that knew exactly what it was doing. He removed her hands, her nose, her lips, and her eyes. It wasn't a frenzied attack. It was a clinical dismantling. Section 4. The inevitable collision. So, let's move to the present day and see how this ancient evolutionary conflict is reawakening on a massive global scale. Across sub-Saharan Africa, chimpanzee habitat has declined by more than 90% over the last century. Driven by rapid agricultural expansion and deforestation, what little remains is fragmented and it's shrinking fast. We are forcing highly intelligent, physically formidable, and increasingly desperate primate predators into a human world that honestly has absolutely no plan for what to do when they arrive. And the results of this overlap are, frankly, terrifying. In places like Uganda's Kabale region, researchers are documenting a sharp rise in deliberate, non-opportunistic encounters. These are not shy animals retreating into the brush when humans approach. These are chimpanzees systematically entering human settlements, evaluating the situations with targeted intent, and, in the most horrifying cases, actively entering homes and abducting human infants. We are watching an unavoidable collision between two highly intelligent primates, both competing for survival. Section 5. A dark evolutionary mirror. We have to fundamentally reframe how we view this animal, and by extension, how we view our own place in nature. Because the crucial point we really need to take away from this explainer is this. Chimpanzees are not monsters. They are not malevolent, and they are not evil. Their purposeful violence, their staggering intelligence, their ability to calculate odds and execute rivals, all of it is the perfect, brutal result of millions of years of survival in an absolutely unforgiving world. The 1.3% of DNA that separates us is the part that builds cities and writes symphonies. But as we watch chimpanzees wage coordinated war, build political coalitions, and calculate cold revenge, we're left with a really haunting realization. The most terrifying parts of the chimpanzee might just be a reflection of our own prehistoric psychology. When we look into the dark of the forest, what truly lies within that shared 98.7%? It's a question that should leave us all profoundly disturbed.